Hi, welcome gamers. I'm Ferdinand the Cardboard Stacker, and I'll be your guide for your instructional video to Unfair. Unfair is a strategic tableau building game with high intense player interaction. Each game can hold up to 5 players and can take about 25 minutes per player. Children must meet the minimum recommended age of 14 to play the game. In this game, you have opportunities to construct attractions, plan ahead with blueprints, and experience a wide range of events. Each game will be themed around different amusement park themes, like jungle or pirates. Your job as manager and owner is to earn the most points by building rides, completing blueprints, and making money. But you must be wary, competition is fierce. Bad stuff can happen, so always be on your guard. To set up a game of Unfair, all players need to decide among themselves which theme deck they want to use. Then choose a side of the board you like to play. There is no difference on either side except for layout. Remove and set aside the theme overview cards. Each player receives one main gate, a lone card placed face down next to the main gate, and a round and scoring summary card. Then each player collects their starting 20 coins from the supply. Place the rest of the coins in easy reach of all players. For the decks that have been chosen for the game, separate each type and combine the same type of cards from all sets. Shuffle all Park, Events, Blueprints, Showcase, and Blue and Red City cards. To create the City deck, take 4 random City cards from both the Blue Funfair and Red Unfair City decks and return the rest to the box. The Red Unfair cards are placed on the bottom first, then add the public notice on top of that. This is a reminder that blue cards cannot be drawn after the 4th round. Then place the Blue Funfair cards on top of that. Put this deck and all others on their appropriate spot on the board. Deal out 5 park cards to each player. If a player receives a hand without any attractions, they may reveal all their cards, discard them, and draw 5 new ones. This process may be repeated as many times as needed. Discarded cards are then shuffled back into the deck. Next, deal 2 showcase cards to each player. These cards are kept secret from other players. Then fill the 6 market spaces with park cards. Finally, the suggested first starting player is the player who most recently rode a roller coaster. If this is your first time playing Unfair, it is recommended to follow these guidelines. When selecting your theme decks, refer to the chart in the rulebook for your first setup. Both Ninja and Gangster theme decks are strongly not recommended to play on your first game, as with 5 players. Also, consider using one or more game changers which affects the game in different ways. The first date is suggested for your premier play, which shortens the game to only 6 rounds. Let's now take a look at how a round is structured. On the board, it shows the gaming steps in order, and the current step marker is used to keep track of the current step. The beginning 3 steps are called events. First, all players draw 1 event card. Then the starting player of the round reveals the top city card and follows its instructions. Blue city cards come out first, which almost always give bonuses to the players. It is followed by the red city cards, often giving negative effects or obstacles to players in the second half of the game. Then, in turn order, players may play 1 event card or an event ability. Each player may simply pass on their turn to not play a card at all. If a player passes earlier, they may still play event cards later on. An event card has 2 paths, a top and a bottom, which a player chooses one of them to use. The top usually have effects that is helpful to you, and in contrast, the bottom is used to hinder your opponents. If a player attacks using an event card, some events can be discarded immediately by the defending player to block it. Cards with a pushpin symbol are kept in front of players that has effects used later in the round. Used events are discarded. Once all players have passed in succession, then they move on to the park steps. The park step is where players get to do their 3 actions. Event cards and even some special staff can give players the extra 4th action. Starting with the first player, they take an action, then the next player takes an action, and so on. By the time it returns to the starting player, move the current step marker to the next park step. If nobody has the 4th park action, simply skip it and move to the guest step. There are several different actions a player can do. The take action lets you take cards from the board. Players can take a one face-up park card from the market. Any taken park card is immediately refilled by cards from the top of the park deck. Players may draw 2 cards from a single deck, that being park, event, and blueprint decks. They keep up to 1 and discard the others. A player may also discard a card in their hand to pick up 5 cards from the park deck, keeping 1 and discarding the rest. While blueprints are optional, it gives the opportunity to score for more points when completed. Each blueprint, kept secret from other players, lists a number of cards that must be built in order to receive points printed. The top half of each card must be completed. Failure to do so by the end of the game subtracts 10 points for each unfinished blueprint. The bottom half, the bonus, is voluntary and is only available to score when you complete the top portion of the card. There is no penalty if you do not complete it. Please note that blueprints are unaffected by hand size limits. Once committed to blueprints, they may not be discarded by regular means. After the 4th round, drawing for blueprints will be unavailable except through events and abilities. When taking the build action, players may build a park card from their hand or take a park card directly from the market by paying the cost listed on the price tag. Building includes attractions, upgrades, resources, and in this case, hiring staff. Place resources and staff on the left area of your main gate. Attractions are placed in one of 5 empty slots on the right side of your main gate. Each player's park can hold up to 5 attractions. New attractions always gets built on the leftmost empty slot. Super attractions can also be built and counts just as an attraction. A player may only build their super attraction if they have at least 5 stars in cards in their park. One super attraction can only be built in each park at one time. If you wish not to build both of your super attractions, simply discard them at any time without revealing them to receive 10 coins. Upgrades can only be built to add on existing attractions. After paying for it, place the upgrade behind the attraction so the upgrade icon can easily be seen covering any irrelevant text. Players may also build upgrades on closed attractions. Do note, some upgrades have limitations and players can't build the same copies of upgrades on one attraction. Upgrades can have the same icons with the exception of theme upgrades, which one of each can only exist on a single attraction. If you're short on cash, consider taking a loan. For every 5 coins, each loan takes away 10 points at the end of the game. This may be done at any time and can be taken up to 4 times for 20 coins. However, there is no way to replay your loan during the game. Choose this option wisely. Players have the option to demolish their own attraction and upgrades. In this case, you fire your staff. If demolishing an attraction, demolish any upgrades attached to it. Cards demolished are sent to the discard pile. Note that demolishing an upgrade that is built into an attraction through events or other means closes the attraction instead. Finally, players can pick up loose change. For each attraction a player owns, whether it is open or closed, this action gives 1 coin for each. In guest steps, this is where players receive their money from guests. To do this, players count their stars on the main gate, open attractions along with their upgrades, staff, and resources. Every park has a cap of 15 stars when counting guests. Even if you have more, 15 is the max. Next, look for cards with ticket symbols that score extra money. The total coins you will receive is the number of stars plus any extra from cards that pay out. The final step for each of the rounds is the cleanup step. Do the following things in order. Discard any event cards still in play. Reopen closed attraction from face down to face up. Replace the park cards in the market with new ones. Players discard their hands down to 5. Remember, this only applies to total park and event cards. Finally, move the starting player to the next player on the left. After the final round, it's time to determine who is the winner of Unfair. First, let's find out how to score your attractions. Count all the icons on the left of your attraction, including all upgrades attached to it. Once you know, refer to the scoring chart to see how many points you score. The bigger the attraction, the more points you get. Then, reveal your blueprints and see if you completed any. Points are scored for each complete blueprint. The bonus can only apply if the top is fulfilled. Each failed blueprint deducts 10 points from the total. Points for coins are worth 1 point for every 2 coins. Other cards like staff and resources will have points on them or have special instructions to how to score them. Don't forget to deduct points from any loan taken out. The winner is the player with the most points. If there's a tie, the tie is broken with the player who has the most stars in their park, followed by the largest completed blueprint, and finally money. If those things fail, then use rock, paper, scissors to see who is the winner. This concludes the instructional video for Unfair. Before you go, as a reminder, Good Games Publishing asks for components from other board games to be properly put away in their boxes. And as for your safety, please refrain from smoking and taking flash photography while playing Unfair. Thank you, and enjoy the game.